Have you ever met someone who simply must comment on everything, often critically? Or maybe you felt that little nudge yourself sometime.
That urge to just point out what's wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, today we're diving into the really curious case of a man whose default setting was basically critique. And we see what happens when that relentless scrutiny gets applied to, well, to heaven itself.
Interesting.
Our deep dive today is into this fascinating German narrative. It's called Meister Pfriem's Heavenly Criticism. And it gives this rich, often quite funny, but also surprisingly deep look at human nature, all through the life and, importantly, the dream of this main character, Meister Pfriem. He's just the embodiment of, perpetual judgment.
Right. So our mission here is really to unpack what this vivid story tells us about criticism itself, maybe the nature of it, and explore that challenge of accepting different viewpoints, especially when they clash with how we think things should be, and maybe most importantly, the sheer power of habit.
Even in, the most extraordinary circumstances.
Exactly. Even divine ones, you could say.
So as you're listening, maybe think about, how quickly do you tend to judge? What might you miss when you kind of assume you know best?
Yeah, good questions.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's unpack this character first. Meister Pfriem. Who was this guy?
Well, the text paints a really specific picture. He's described as small, gaunt, but also really lively, never a moment's peace.
Restless.
Totally restless. Pale, pockmarked face, this prominent upturned nose, gray shaggy hair. But it was his eyes. Small, constantly darting around.
Noticing everything.
And usually finding something wrong with it.
So his core personality, the text says, was he criticized everything, knew everything better, and was always right.
Yeah. And what's fascinating, I think, is just the sheer breadth and depth of that critical impulse. It wasn't just occasional. It was everything.
It permeated his whole life.
His entire operating system, you could say. And it wasn't just internal thoughts, right? It spilled out.
Oh, yeah. Constantly. Even just walking down the street, swinging his arms wildly. There's this specific story where he knocks over a girl's water bucket and then yells at her, calls her Schafskopf, which is like blockhead.
Wow.
Demanding to know why she couldn't see him coming. It's just zero self-awareness.
That really sums it up, doesn't it? Everyone else is always at fault. And this carried right into his work, his shoemaking.
Right. His workshop was like a revolving door for apprentices. Nobody lasted more than a month.
Because he found fault with everything they did.
Everything. Uneven stitches, the leather wasn't beaten right, shoes too wide, too narrow.
He even apparently beat an apprentice with a strap.
Yeah. To show him how to soften the hide, he said. Called them all lazy.
Just brutal. But the irony, and you pointed this out earlier, is that despite all this focus on other people's flaws, he himself didn't accomplish much.
Because he couldn't sit still. Always jumping up to criticize.
Exactly. His critical nature actually seems to have undermined his own productivity, which is, quite telling.
Definitely. And it wasn't just work. His home life was the same.
Chaos.
Total chaos. Criticizing his wife's fire first thing in the morning. Are you going to burn the house down? The maids are gossiping, wasting soap.
Calling them geese cackling and shamefully lazy.
Right. And then, in the middle of one of these tirades, he's the one who knocks over a bucket of lye and floods the kitchen.
Oh, the irony is just palpable there. He creates the mess while criticizing others.
And he genuinely believed he was right. Not just at home, but out in public, too. Watching a new house go up.
Oh, yeah. What did he find wrong there?
Everything, apparently. The red sandstone that never dries, bad stonework, the mortar needed gravel. He predicted the whole thing would collapse.
Of course he did.
He'd even yell at carpenters on the street, telling them they weren't cutting along the line. He apparently grabbed an axe once to show them.
He actually took the axe.
Well, tried to show him, then dropped it and ran off to yell at a farmer about hitching young horses to a heavy wagon, predicting they'd collapse too.
He just couldn't help himself, had to interfere, had to judge, always convinced he knew best.
It all builds to this really powerful moment in the workshop, though.
Okay.
He's criticizing a shoe, really laying into his apprentice about how badly it was cut.
Standard for him.
But the apprentice has finally had enough.
Oh.
And he says, basically, Meister, you might be right. The shoe's no good, but it's the one you cut yourself. You started working on it, then jumped up and threw it off the table. I just picked it up.
Oh, wow.
And then the killer line. But even an angel from heaven couldn't satisfy you.
Oof. That hits hard, doesn't it? It really makes you wonder, what happens when criticism becomes so automatic, so ingrained, that you can't even be satisfied with your own work, or, like The Apprentice says, even perfection itself wouldn't be good enough. It's about that inertia of habit, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that sets up the next part perfectly, because this is where the story gets really interesting. He dreams he dies.
Right. He finds himself on the way to heaven.
You'd think, okay, new place, divine intervention. Maybe this will shake him out of it. A fresh start.
It's like the ultimate test for him, isn't it? A cosmic challenge to his whole worldview. But his first reaction tells you everything.
Even at the pearly gates, he gets there and immediately starts knocking really violently.
And complaining.
Complaining about the lack of a proper door knocker ring. Yeah. Says he'll knock his knuckles raw.
Kind of believable. Criticizing heaven's entryway.
So St. Peter recognizes him, of course, lets him in, but gives him this very stern warning.
What does Peter say?
Basically, look, I'll let you in, but you have to stop that habit of yours. Criticize nothing you see here, or it could go badly for you.
A direct warning.
A direct warning. And Pfriem's response, totally dismissive. Claims he knows what's proper, and obviously everything in heaven is perfect, so there'll be nothing to criticize.
He actually believes he can just switch it off. Because, heaven, perfect.
He thinks his criticism is only for earthly flaws. But you can see the struggle immediately. He gets inside, looks around. He can't help himself, shaking his head, muttering, trying really hard to suppress that urge, that need to find fault.
It's so deeply rooted. So what's the first thing he sees that tests him?
Okay, first, big test. 2 angels carrying a beam. And it's not just any beam, it's the beam, from the Bible. Speck in your brother's eye, beam in your own.
Ah, right, that one.
And the crucial part, they're carrying it sideways, across the path.
Sideways. Okay, from an earthly point of view, that makes no sense. That's inefficient.
Exactly. Pfriem's immediate thought is such incomprehension. Like, what idiots?
But he remembers the warning.
He remembers, just barely.
Yeah.
And he forces himself to rationalize it. He kind of grudgingly thinks, well, okay, maybe it doesn't matter how you carry it, straight or sideways, as long as you get through. And actually, they aren't bumping into anything.
So it's a very strained acceptance. He's not really getting it, just tolerating it.
Yeah, you can almost hear the gears grinding in his head. Then, next thing, he sees 2 other angels. They're scooping water from a well.
Okay.
But they're putting it into a barrel that's full of holes. A perforated barrel. Water's just leaking out everywhere.
Leaking out? Why?
Well, the text says it's watering the earth with rain. But Pfriem doesn't see that part, or doesn't register it.
He just sees the leaky barrel, the inefficiency.
Right. He nearly bursts out again, shouts, "Ali Hogel!" like, good heavens, or what the heck? But catches himself again.
So how does he rationalize this one? It sounds even more illogical from his perspective.
His rationalization this time is even weaker, I think. He decides, perhaps it's just a pastime. If you're having fun, you can do useless things like this, especially here in heaven where, well, frankly, they just seem to laze around anyway.
Wow. So he's still finding fault. He's just calling it pastime or laziness instead of admitting there might be a purpose he doesn't understand. He can't see the rain being made.
Exactly. He cannot conceive of a logic beyond his own earthly, practical one. But the breaking point is coming.
Ah, okay. What finally pushes him over the edge?
He sees a wagon. It's stuck deep in a hole. There's a man nearby who explains it's full of pious wishes.
Pious wishes in a wagon.
And an angel is coming to help get it out. So an angel arrives and harnesses 2 horses to the front.
Only 2?
Pfriem, the expert wagon puller, apparently, immediately jumps in. 2 horses won't get that out. You need at least 4. He's totally forgotten the warning, forgotten he's in heaven. Back to earthly mechanics.
He just can't resist showing he knows better, even with angels involved.
But then comes the final straw. A second angel shows up with 2 more horses.
Ah, 4 horses. See, Pfriem was right.
Well, the second angel takes the 2 extra horses and hitches them to the back of the wagon.
To the back. Pushing or pulling backward.
Pulling backwards, seemingly against the first 2. This is just too much for Meister Pfriem. He completely loses it. He explodes. "Talpatch, blockhead, what are you doing?" Has anyone, as long as the world has stood, ever pulled a wagon out like that? They think they know everything better in their arrogant conceit. He tries to keep yelling.
That completely illogical act, from his view, just broke him. It's an affront to his whole understanding of, physics.
His earthly logic just cannot compute a solution that looks like that. It has to be wrong.
And what happens then? Does St. Peter come back?
No, just some other heavenly resident grabs him by the collar and just pushes him irresistibly out of heaven, throws him out.
Kicked out of heaven for criticizing.
Pretty much. And as he's being booted out, he turns his head for one last look.
And sees.
He sees the wagon being lifted easily up into the air by 4 winged horses.
Winged horses. Ah.
The very solution his logic couldn't grasp. Pulling up, not just forward or backward, but his earthly conventional thinking completely blinded him to that divine possibility.
Wow. So the answer was right there, just operating on a different level.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for him? He wakes up from this dream. Does this whole celestial boot out actually change him?
That's the big question, isn't it? Can someone that ingrained actually change, even after an experience like that? His first thoughts when he wakes up are, well, very Pfriem.
What does he think?
He admits, okay, things are indeed different in heaven than on earth, and much can be excused.
A little progress, maybe.
Maybe a tiny bit. But then he immediately follows up with, but who can patiently watch horses being hitched at both the front and back? He's still trying to justify why he was right to yell.
Unbelievable, even after seeing it work.
Right. He acknowledges things are different, but he can't fully accept the miracle, the unconventional method. He even says, of course they had wings, but who could know that?
Blaming the system. It's not my fault I didn't know about the wings.
Precisely. He frames his own ignorance as a flaw in heaven's design, not his perception. And then the kicker. Besides, it's a mighty stupidity to attach wings to horses that have 4 legs for running anyway.
He's critiquing the efficiency of winged horses, not marveling that they exist or that they solve the problem.
Exactly. He's still judging the method by his earthly standards, even when the outcome was miraculous. It worked, but it was still a dumb way to do it. That's basically his takeaway.
Classic Pfriem. And does he dwell on this heavenly revelation?
Not for long. The return to habit is almost instantaneous. His very next thought, after complaining about winged horse aerodynamics, is, but I must get up, otherwise they'll do everything wrong in the house.
Back to criticizing the maids and his wife.
Immediately, and then adds, it's just good fortune that I didn't actually die.
So no real change then?
It really highlights how powerful those ingrained habits are, doesn't it? How hard it is to genuinely shift your core perspective, even after a divine wake-up call. He saw proof his way wasn't the only way, maybe not even the best way in that context, but
he just snaps right back.
Snaps right back into that comfort zone of critique. The dream was maybe a warning, but he kind of twisted its meaning to fit his existing worldview.
So, wrapping up our journey with Meister Pfriem. It's quite a story. A really vivid picture of relentless criticism.
And that deep challenge of, truly embracing different perspectives. And just how incredibly resilient our habits can be.
Pfriem's story really does invite us to look at our own critical tendencies, doesn't it?
I think so. How often do we encounter things, maybe solutions or ideas, that seem like those winged horses? Things that look completely illogical by our usual standards.
Yeah, methods that just seem wrong or inefficient at first glance.
But they might actually hold some hidden, maybe even miraculous effectiveness if we could just get past our initial judgment.
How open are we really to seeing them? Instead of just immediately finding fault with how unconventional they look, like Pfriem did with, well, everything. The beam, the leaky barrel.
And especially those winged horses.
Think about that line from The Apprentice, too. Even an angel from heaven couldn't satisfy you.
That's a powerful thought.
Who in your life, maybe, or maybe even a part of yourself does that ring true for? That part that's just impossible to please.
And maybe think about what possibilities could open up. What might we see or achieve if we could just, sometimes,
hit pause on the critique button.
Yeah. Step back, resist that immediate urge to judge, and try to look beyond the surface, try to perceive the wings we didn't expect to be there.
Definitely something to mull over. Until our next deep dive,